go? Coming down. Sorry, can't find.
You gotta put yourself on screen.
I know. I couldn't find the button. Sorry, guys. It was a technical malfunction there. I'm sorry for the delay. Hello and good evening. I'm Dave Mader, and this is D Space Nine at 9ish, our ongoing series where we review every episode of Star Trek D Space Nine as we continue on our 2.5-year journey. This one is season 6, episode 16, Change of Heart. From 1998. This is a review. It's a live stream here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. We might be listening to it as the audio version. I'm Dave Mader, if I didn't mention that already. Also, we got Jaemeel Robinson here to help break down this episode. And Davan Skelhorn.
Hey, what's up?
We got a whole crew here on the station to talk about the episode Change of Heart, which is a mid-season episode. A story. There's got an A plot with Jadzia and Worf and a B plot with O'Brien and Bashir. And we're going to break it all down.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're going to break this whole episode down and talk about whether we liked it or didn't like it or whatever. And people might be commenting here in the comments. Yes, we got Sam and others. Do it for Sammy. Is what I always say. Okay, guys. So I find it's easiest just to kind of run through the episode's visuals and help us remind us what happened in this episode and what we thought of it while we were going. We have all seen this episode 25 years ago, but this is again our rewatch, and we start here on the station as we find that Dax is playing Tongo here with Quark to start off the episode. And O'Brien,
they've yet to build the computer that can master that game.
Yeah, no, it's a complicated game where you basically run a stock market. It's like poker and Monopoly and other games, all
and roulette, like all in one go.
Roulette.
Have they actually
spin the wheel as well?
Have they actually fleshed out that game so it can be played by us Terrans?
Yes, it is fleshed out.
You can get it.
It exists. I can't remember in which form, but I remember we looked it up for a Locutors episode, and it's out there.
You have to play with those plastic chips though, like Bashir and O'Brien were doing. You can't get the real latinum. Okay, and so O'Brien and Worf are watching this, and this episode is the A plot is very much about Worf and Dax and their relationship and how they fit as Starfleet officers together and in the context of the Dominion War. But this all kind of starts with Dax playing Tongo. And of course, Worf hates Quark, never says his name. He continues that here. He just calls him
the Ferengi bartender.
That's all he'll ever be to Worf.
It's so disrespectful.
Yeah, it's always, she's like, she will defeat him.
Fantastic. Though, guys, like this opening scene is amazing.
Oh yeah, no, this episode written by Ronald D. Moore is one of my favorites. It's got amazing dialogue, and coming back to it, I was like, yeah, just the use of O'Brien and Worf in this scene, and how well these two actors, Michael Dorn and Cole Meany, O'Brien and Worf.
Now, how about this for a premise for a review, fellas? I think this episode is the episode that proves that Worf and Jadzia are the best Star Trek couple by far.
I'm not going to disagree.
The most chemistry. They have the most interesting scenes together. Unfortunately, it doesn't last, so it's all for naught, which is really depressing when you watch this, knowing what's going to happen in like 10 episodes from now.
Jeff would argue a great tragedy, a noble literary tragedy of sorts.
It is. It really is.
I'm going to reiterate this at the end of the episode. I think this episode kind of puts Jadzia in the Diana Prince type of view, where she's this, to many, like this unattainable figure, right? So like they always used to say that everyone loves Wonder Woman, right? Like Barry, Superman, everyone loves Wonder Woman. And because she just connects with everyone. She has that ability. She's beautiful, smart, she's a warrior, right? She's, protector. And
one of the only women in the original Justice League lineup.
Well, yes. But like Worf, who's like this, dark brooding character like Batman, ends up, connecting best with her.
Yeah,
I'm not like Batman. Come on, get over your Batman feelings. I'm just saying that Jadzia presented in this light that people are drawn to her. I think it's something that they didn't really do a good job of presenting through 6 seasons, and this episode does a great job of kind of like how she's felt by everyone. And it's
Right.
a shame that she's presented finally in the correct way at the tail end of her run. Like they never really
Yeah.
figured it out.
I might take you to task a little bit there, Jaemeel. I think they do. And they do establish the fact that Bashir and Quark like her almost from the beginning. So she's always been this unattainable thing for those two.
Which
And
this
then Worf
episode
just
really
comes out of
gets
nowhere.
into. Like the B plot does tie
But
into with the A
they,
plot, but in this indirect way.
but I'd also argue that they show her to be a very formidable, kind of unattainable person before that. Like she goes on Klingon blood revenges and like hangs out with Koloth and Kor, and like she's always been this kind of like mythical figure on the station, I think.
I don't think they've done a good enough job in presenting that, though.
I
They
think
could
it's
have written her a bit better.
I agree. Like it's a little late, but I think you could say that about a lot of the characters on the show that like they weren't.
No one has been disserviced like Jadzia in comparison.
Well, I don't think that she's been totally disserviced though. That's all. It's like it's. I think they've done okay with. I guess I agree. There's
They
room
just
for
service her at
improvement.
the end.
Yeah, right before they kill her.
Yeah.
And I'm still bitter about it too. And when I watch these episodes in retrospect, I can't help but get upset with how it ends with Terry Farrell in the show and what comes after it. But I just tried to look at this episode today for what it is and what the story of these two was on this particular day and time. Because really, that's all I could. I think the episode that's really what it's saying too, right? Is that it kind of came down to this moment.
It was my.
I just feel like she gets fridged, and it pisses me off.
She does, but it's for like contract reasons, not story reasons.
And actually, I saw something recently about Rick Berman that really changed my opinion on the whole situation. Where I was like, he apparently said some really sexist and cruel and kind of dismissive things, and I didn't really know all this until recently. And so I was just like, okay,
he's the worst.
Because initially I was like, okay, it came down to a contract dispute, and she wanted to go a different way, and whatever. It's like not the end of the world. I never used to think it was like this. I never understood how poorly she was treated by management until because I don't think that the documentary
he used to make her come into his office and like pose her like breasts to him and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
He's a rate scumbag. Yeah.
I think they left that all out of the documentary of What We Left Behind, and what they left
on the cutting floor, right? The cutting room floor. Davan, I'm just trying to deal with how I feel about being really caught up in this situation. I think this is a brilliant episode, which needs to be restructured a little bit, in my opinion. But to know that we have such a great dynamic that is going to be thrown away, in a couple episodes is it's disheartening. It's terrible.
It is, but
it is my big takeaway from this episode at the end. I was just like, oh my god, because Sisko's just like, moving ahead here, but Sisko's like, you probably never made captain now and all this stuff, and I'm just like, oh my god, Worf sacrificed so much for 2 more weeks with Jadzia, like.
Yeah. It's kind of what it comes down to here, but it doesn't matter really. It's kind of like it's still the right. Okay, I guess we need to talk about, is Worf's choice in this episode at the end the right thing or the wrong thing? I say he made the right decision.
I think he made the right decision.
But I think you could look at the other side of that.
That's his job. Like everyone has their job. You can't save everybody, but what you can do as a person is protect you and yours, man. Like you can protect your family. That's your job.
It's his
job to protect her.
I feel the mission was poorly conceived in the first place, so
it was.
Well, they throw that in at the end too. They weren't expecting to have to go down on this planet or nothing. He's like, no, you got to do this when they're already there.
Yeah,
you got to come down. No,
but in general, like
what?
I
Guys, let's regroup here because I feel like we're kind of jumping around a lot. So we talked about the opening scene with in the bar with Jadzia and how she looks like she's gonna win, but then Quark beats her in the end with a better hand, and then Worf loses the bet to O'Brien. But then after here, we get like this whole sequence here with them in the bedroom, and this episode really is more about their intimate married life that they're really kind of focusing on post. You are cordially invited, which was earlier this season. This season's a real up and down roller coaster emotionally in a bunch of different fronts.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of lows and highs, and I think that this episode has it hits on a bunch of notes. But I really always loved seeing this at the time. I love seeing the evolution of Worf's character, from who he starts off in Next Generation to who he is now.
This character development in the history of Star Trek is Worf.
Yeah,
His
this
journey,
whole
man.
him like with the spirituality, and he's got like the little statue he does his prayer to here and everything else. Like I was like, it's neat.
I like that.
Yeah. You don't normally see this side of Worf.
And she just gets quiet and lets him do it. Like she was talking, and then she's noticed what he was doing, and just like stopped talking.
Yeah, and she throws the dress at him.
Yeah.
I always thought that was and she does the whole come hither pose. In the
Very alluring.
Yeah, with their photo here in the background from the wedding in their gear.
That's a great touch.
It is.
Yeah. She got the spots all the way down in this one, guys. Michael Dorn in his long pajamas for whatever reason. That was always he's like, let's go. Cut away and sleeping. He's still got the long pajamas on. He's probably got a little hole if his dick comes out or whatever.
What? Dave,
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
What?
I couldn't resist.
Wow, Dave.
Yeah, I was trying to get graphic, people.
We were a family-friendly show.
Yeah, we were. I'm just kidding. Okay. Help me get back on track here, guys. I was getting caught away with this scene
I'm
here.
lost now.
Yeah. Worf pulls off because they get called from Kira. Kira calls them up. They say the Defiance
spots do go all the way down.
Yep.
Spots do go all the way down. And then they get dressed and they go up to see Kira because Cisco's not here, I guess, and the Defiant's not here because this mission really should be
in this episode at all.
Cisco?
He's not, is he?
Only at the end.
Yeah, it did.
Oh yeah.
Right. And Kira gives them this mission. She's like, the Defiant's here, so you two are going on the runabout to go meet this guy Lasarin, who is this Cardassian who's looking to defect. And they're like, you need to go talk to him here in the Badlands, whatever. You need to leave right away, basically, is kind of what the setup there is.
Yes.
Makes sense.
And this time, Starfleet Intelligence doesn't want to use O'Brien because they used him before.
Yeah.
And,
he
they didn't want to use him this time. Yeah.
But, like, they could have taken at least a couple more people with them, on this mission. I feel like this mission requires more than 2 people.
Especially
if
if
you
they're...
want to travel.
Well, go ahead.
Travel far, travel together. If you want to travel quickly, travel alone. They need
Take 2 more people. 2 more. Take the doctor.
Take O'Brien.
Bashir O'Brien. They were playing Tongo this whole time. They could have been helping with the mission.
I just feel
Run
O'Brien.
an important Tongo mission.
and freaking, like, what's Kira doing? Where's Cisco?
No,
Who's
Kira
on the
needs to
Defiant
stay
with Cisco?
Kira needs to stay on the station.
Kira's got to stay on the station. So who's on the Defiant? Odo and Cisco? Is that what's happening?
Odo. Why would Odo be on the Defiant?
Because Odo is not in the episode, so I have to presume he's with Cisco. So
he's doing his job. He's doing security. Security doesn't come up in this episode.
Okay, then who?
Davan, how do you know no one died? Okay,
who's on the Defiant with Cisco?
Oh, who? Oh,
Nog.
well, like Munez. Is he dead yet? Yeah, he's dead.
Nog might be there.
Yeah, Nog for sure.
Nog. It's a Cisco Nog in the Defiant rolling around.
Jake,
maybe he's there.
Although if they took Nog, they would have heard the Jem'Hadar from far off.
Yes. I'm sorry. I was.
It is odd. I will give you that he took none of his senior staff with him on the Defiant. Do we know who's off on the Defiant?
I think, like, remember that mission where it was like Cisco and Dax and Worf and O'Brien, and they had like all these like other like dead Nunez, and they had all these like that Benzite character, and then they all like most of them got killed. But that was just to go like survey for dilithium. This is a mission to go get a defector out of like the everything else. And I guess because it was a top secret mission.
Well, they didn't want to send a Defiant for that.
The Defiant wasn't available, she says. Defiant's unavailable for this mission.
Didn't make any sense to me because they could have hey, Defiant, top warp speed, get to this location.
Yeah, where was the Defiant? What were
then they'll be detected, right? Like the reason they were able to get there is they fly this tiny shuttle through an asteroid field.
Okay.
So
well, maybe we're getting caught up maybe too much with the plot, the mechanics of what's going on in the war, who's getting assigned to what. Maybe Ronald D. Moore, the writer of this episode, would rather we just focus on the story, and
we'll have him on the show, and we'll ask.
Yeah. This episode titled "Change of Heart." Where it starts off here with a conversation, really good dialogue here between Worf and Jadzia about what their honeymoon plans, where Worf wants to go to Vulcan and in their summer and march to the Forge. And she's like, this is like the worst plan ever. It's, it's some clever relationship stuff. I always like Ronald D. Moore's dialogue. It really comes through in this episode. And, and then he's like, we can go mountain climbing on Andoria instead, which, like is a very cold planet to go to. And she's like, I want to be pampered. I think I do have some questions. Yeah. I don't feel like talking any. But
I want to be pampered. I didn't expect you to surrender so quickly.
Surrender.
Bad word.
Very bad.
Okay.
She pitches Casperia Prime. Here.
Yeah, we'll Casperia Prime.
The vacation capital of the Harami cluster.
Hobarian, or is it Harami cluster?
You can get a job with the Starfleet Bureau of Information. That's an official Starfleet bureau. Anyway, I'm having fun with this episode. Okay, so they're checking it out, and Worf gives in, and that's where she's like, I didn't expect you to give in so easily, and then that was the whole surrender clip I played earlier. On
the Enterprise, I was considered to be quite amusing.
That's from this episode.
Ron D. Moore's like, he doesn't waste a single line. Like his dialogue is always so epic and so memorable.
Oh yeah,
and so
that is a joke.
To the character,
I get it. It is not funny, but I get it.
I get it.
And Michael,
must have been one dull shit, which is a hilarious joke because we've seen how not dull it is. Like they have constant catastrophes on the Enterprise team.
It's always going bad on the Enterprise.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I really love this scene. I love everything between Michael Dorn and Terry Farrell, how they pull this off.
It's the best couple.
Best couple ever. I don't think any of the other Star Trek couples come close. Jaemeel, name one couple who can
look.
It's not Michael Burnham and Book. I'm telling you that.
I am always trying. If someone says best ever, I always want to hold on a second. Let's pump the brakes a little bit and let's think about it for a second. I'm struggling.
Oh, I have.
It's a short list.
We did the relationships episode of Locutors and Trek. I went deep on this.
He's
the only ones that come close are Cisco and Cassidy, which is a good one.
Data and Spot.
Cisco and Cassidy. There's Tom and B'Elanna.
And that's it, man. Like those are the top three, and these two are way better.
Yeah.
Well, there's there's Rom and Lita, but man.
Rom and Lita, Odo and Kira.
Kes and Neelix, stop it, Sam.
And there's the only other big one is Trip and T'Pol, and that one never worked.
Trip and T'Pol, yeah. I don't know.
Some people always Worf and Dax. They're the best one.
Uhura and Spock in the Kelvin timeline.
No, Miles and Keiko are really good too. I love
Miles. She was away a lot.
She's always she's gone for 6 months all of a sudden again in this episode. I'm like, does he ever see his kids? This guy?
Not really.
No,
isn't Kira? No, she takes them both too. Like she's on a mountain and she thinks the kids are still better off with her on a cliffside.
She probably took the cat. She probably took that cat away from her.
Riker and Troy? I don't think so, Sam. Yeah. I don't think so, Sam.
No. Kes and Neelix, oh my god, you didn't just say that. Oh my god.
The thing with O'Brien is it feels like he's Spider-Man, where the writers feel, hey, you know what's the best thing about Spider-Man? Spider-Man being single, right? And I feel like they're constantly just putting Keiko aside because they don't want to deal with that. They just want O'Brien to be this specific character due to the story. So that's why she's never there.
Needs O'Brien so badly that they have no time for O'Brien to do other things. Largely,
I agree. I think it has more to do with Bashir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because they always found good things to do with Colmeany and O'Brien. That's easy.
That's why I
He's
think
on the angle.
the episode
He-
last week, I thought like Cole Meany can carry that episode. You know, you can like that episode,
Yeah,
not like that
he
episode,
did.
but Cole Meany can carry that episode on his own.
He didn't.
I love it because of him. Like he just nails it in that episode.
He didn't carry that episode.
Oh
Well,
yeah, he did.
let's not get into that episode, guys. But what do you think about O'Brien's obsession here and his recruitment of Bashir into becoming his Tongo player? And you like this storyline?
Makes sense. I love
Yeah.
it.
I like it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I always thought it was a bit. It's a bit
207 games, Dave Jaemeel.
I find that the tone of it,
207 games.
the tone of it compared to the tone of the other storyline with Bashir and or with Worf and Dax, especially towards the end where it gets super serious, I find that's the hardest part for me.
I feel like it starts off. It's not too heavy and it doesn't take up too much time, which is great if you're gonna have a B storyline to kind of like break up the A storyline. And its finale of that B storyline, I think, is so strong with the themes of this episode. My only issue is where that finale of that B storyline is structured. It should be placed elsewhere.
Yeah, it's just a little. I think it's not. It's more of a fine tuning thing. I think ultimately, and how the two stories needed to be told, because I feel like that the storyline with Bashir and Quark at the end doesn't really play for me enough. But we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but just this part of the episode, just to cover it, where we see the Cardassian defector, Lasarin. He's very
Another great
disdainful.
Cardassian.
Yeah, he doesn't like Worf. He's like, they sent a Klingon, and he's very anti-Klingon. Jedzier's like, I'm a Trill. Is that okay? And he doesn't really say
I
anything.
love her delivery of no. He's the funny one.
He's the
Like,
funny
she
one.
hates this
Yeah.
Cardassian even more
Yeah,
than
she's
Worf
like, "How
does.
dare you insult my husband?" And she's like, "I will break you in half. Don't you mess
Yeah.
with Jedzier Dax."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So they're going. Basically, he needs out right away. He thinks he's going to get caught, but he has information on where all of the founders are in the Alpha Quadrant. So maybe there is more than just the female changeling, as we know her, Salam Jens. There might be a couple others. And
We know there are because we see one on Earth. That's not Salome Jens.
the one in where O'Brien was when that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that we don't know that changeling was still there all that time later, but
Most likely was.
mostly
Why would he leave?
Why would he leave?
Till the war's won.
He's got such a good gig there. Yeah, he could
Well,
probably
he would
sack
miss
it.
the Great Link, so
Yeah,
He would.
I wish they had shown that more with changeling infiltrators in this
Mhm.
Dominion War story, but that doesn't come up very much because the founders, I guess, are so good at the shapeshifting, they don't get caught. Anyway, so they agree to this mission. They got to get him out in like 48 hours. They have to go get this kind of curmudgeon-y, not nice Cardassian whose information can save millions of lives in this war with the Dominion. So they got to go right away. We'll see you there. Don't be late. And they head off. So back to the station, and in the Bashir storyline, it was O'Brien either playing Tonga with like these plastic chips, and O'Brien's really bad at the game because at this point O'Brien's still trying to learn the game so he can figure it out, and Bashir's figured it out more naturally, just with his genetically engineered intellect, can do the number crunching and kind of figure it out. He only looked at the rules for 2 seconds, having never played
Even
before.
2 seconds. That's what's hilarious. It's not even 2 seconds.
yeah.
It's
He
a
just
glance.
Picks it up. He glances and puts it
He
back.
glances at it. He's like, okay, I know how to play Tongo now. I'm like, okay, is
That's
that all it
crazy.
takes?
You just love how blunt he is with O'Brien. He's just like, look, why in your mind would you ever think that you could ever beat Quark at this game? Like,
Right.
Like you'll never do it. He's just like, I love how bored Bashir always looks now. Ever since he was exposed as
He can drop the
an augment.
facade.
He always looks like that. Like he always looks like that look right there all the time now.
Right. Yeah, he's always kind of like melancholy about things, but there's also, I don't know, there's also a vibe to Bashir in this episode. As O'Brien's, he's gonna be his coach. Okay. Let's see how Bashir in a card game.
Bashir's a little weak in strategy.
And Quark got even rich again because Bashir paid for a holosuite for 3 hours they didn't use. Instead, they just played Tongo for the whole time. You know, he had a whole thing prepared, and O'Brien's like, whatever, Tongo. Let's do this
He was
instead.
gonna make O'Brien play Falcon again.
Yeah, because that's why O'Brien is. He's like, he's gonna make me play the bad guy. And I don't like it, and that's why he's doing this Tongo thing. You figured it out. You cracked it. Anyway, there's this whole scene here with Orph and Dax that comes next, where she's doing the flying through the asteroid belt really quick, showing off her piloting skills. Having fun with it. Worf is
Worf's like,
impressed.
You could go faster, by all means.
Oh yeah. And she's like, ta-da. Dax, a very accomplished pilot, as we know, more so than Worf. And then they're scanning around. They kind of look at this place. We kind of see it here in the display that there's the base where Lasarans presumably act with the Dominion. There's the rendezvous point, which is this dot. And then there's the scanning range that they have to kind of cross into once.
Dude should have kept walking.
Make a better rendezvous point. Make a rendezvous point outside of this thing. I think that was part of the issue.
Yeah.
Just
walk a little bit more.
So they have to land.
This is one of those Star Trek episodes too that tries to throw you off guard a bit. Like it has a lot of the humor with the B plot, and even with those two in their banter for the first third of this episode, and then it gets pretty freaking serious, and with a very serious end.
Right. I like that Worf takes off his sash, his baldric, for this mission. I'm like, going into the jungle here, and you
think he would definitely want his baldric in the jungle. That doesn't make any sense.
No, he's got to be moving around. That thing's like very clunky, I would say. You don't want that swinging when if you got to do like the cartwheels or whatever. You get dead on your stomach here. And whatever did they do at this part? Did you understand this, guys? Where
So my understanding was they had to use their tricorders to kind of sync with the security system, right? And that's why they couldn't use their tricorders afterwards, because it's being used to kind of mask themselves as opposed to using it as a regular tricorder. That was my understanding, my assumption about what was going on.
This is how they're able to enter the field without getting detected directly.
Yeah.
Okay. So they hack it, basically.
Yeah. You had to find the right frequency.
The science office.
Yeah. She finally did some science, guys. But this seems like more of an engineering thing.
Which is why O'Brien.
Yeah. Why didn't they send Jadzia to infiltrate the Orion Syndicate instead? I feel like that would have been a better mission for her. Anyway, so
she's not believable as this down out on her luck fix-it guy. You need a guy who looks like O'Brien.
More like a femme fatale.
Yeah, exactly. People will be like, you are far too beautiful and impressive to be like sitting in this bar right now. You are a spy.
Should be an atomic blonde or something. Okay, guys. So back to the Ferengi thing here. I love this shot here. Some of the camera work in this episode, great with this. Directed this episode, David Livingston. Just like this is a Ferengi only game.
He's directed more episodes of Star Trek than anyone ever.
Livingston.
Yeah.
Great shots here with like Quark, and he's like, this is a Ferengi only game, and Dax is the exception, and they talk their way into it. Basically, they brought their money. Haha, we're gonna get them in.
Pretending like it's full. Like
it looks like it's full. It's got a few slips in it.
And he's like, you better win fast.
Yeah, you're off to a quick start.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a great episode.
It is.
So you guys enjoy these Tongo scenes here, and this is where we see it's a time jump here after Bashir enters the game. Basically, it comes down to just Quark and Bashir at the end, and basically Quark plays mind games with him. He's like, "Oh, this is so sad how Jadzia got away and married that oaf Worf." They're both. I always thought they were both so like, I gave it 2 weeks. Oh, I gave it less. I thought it would never last. And then Quark starts feeding him drinks. And for a guy who's genetically engineered, he's pretty dopey when it comes to like the manipulation here by Quark.
That's what O'Brien was trying to tell him. Like,
yeah,
he's a dope.
Like, you're just a human.
You're just a calculator, Julian. Like, get in there and calculate.
But this is like, I wish they kind of expanded upon this very idea a lot more, because like Bashir always plays this secret agent, suave, right? And then you just see him basically just being broken down and manipulated by Quark, right? And it's just like Quark does it with ease. It's not like he's really even trying hard, right? And I think
Quark
that would have
is
been
especially good at that too.
yes. I would have loved if they revisited this type of thought process again. Minus no
I guess
victimo.
some of my negatives with this stuff was just that I was thinking about how it evolves in the next season after Jedzier's dead, and then Ezri comes into the picture, and how I don't know. The fact that Bashir is so unsuccessful in his love life until Ezri.
Well, he's
you know,
not. I mean, he dated Lita for a long
but that
time.
was a
He's always got these.
failure. Like,
We've seen him with other fine-looking ladies. He does fine. He's a handsome young doctor. He does fine.
I think he's good at
He
dating
just doesn't
people.
who he wants.
He can't get like a long-term relationship.
you can't keep one either.
Yeah.
He lost.
But that's
Lita to
because he
Rom.
knows he's infatuated with Dax too.
But like, she's married now. Okay, Bashir was a groomsman basically at the wedding. Like, he can't be going after Jedzier.
Bro, come on,
Come
on,
what?
Dave. Mr. Holes in pajamas, long pajamas. You say that, and then you're like, well, a groomsman can't have the hots for the bride. Come on.
No. That's what I'm calling it out. But anyway, that's what. Bashir, yeah. Anyway, so Bashir's all sad. And
Davan,
then,
you're with me with that, right? You're with me.
Oh, right there with you.
Okay,
he's
thank
right
you.
there. All right, so just getting through this scene, guys, here with where Bashir has what's called like a full consortium, but Quark has a hand that's even better in Tongo called an absolute monopoly.
Yeah,
which I
Full
thought was fun. Full monopoly. Yeah, and
and O'Brien saw it. O'Brien, terrible Tongo player, saw it. He's like, oh,
yeah, he's got you, man. Yeah, he's like, he was not allowed to
Well,
coach
because it was crazy. They're just upping each other back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then all of a sudden Bashir's like evade. It's like, what? Where did that evade come from? Like, you can see the elements of Tongo that are like poker.
yeah.
So that's just like they were like raise, check. It's just like, what? You just checked. Like,
yeah.
It makes no sense. Like,
Right. He was just completely distracted. He was completely distracted, and he was completely. And Quark is just playing him and wins his 207th game in a row. Here in the late night hours.
He just didn't want to think about the turn because he was thinking about Jadzia, so he said evade. So
this must be like in the middle of the night, right? This is when they're playing this stuff, So
Quark's is closed. Like, when do you think Quark's closes at night?
Like, it must be like, because it's 26 hours that day, right? So on the station,
26.
So probably like at 0300, and it's probably closed until like the morning, like breakfast stuff. So 0800 probably. So it might close for like 5 hours.
I'd buy that.
Yeah.
All right. So just getting through the rest of the episode, guys. We got Worf and Jedzier going through the jungle. They're trying to make this rendezvous. It's a montage. It's actually a montage here where they're trying to figure out where to go. It's a lot of them going through. We see snakes. They went to some extremes to really show how inhospitable this jungle was for these two that they were going through.
Did they just like call up a lizard like petting zoo and just like, hey, can we get like 4 or 5 different?
They have a guy.
Yeah.
What was
They have an exotic plant guy and an exotic animal guy.
What was this thing here that did she get bit, Jedzier, on the ankle or something?
Probably just a scrape.
It looks like she does. Yeah,
it was hurting whatever Worf was doing. She was slapping Worf. She was not happy with his dermal regeneration.
He wasn't sucking the poison out.
No, he was sucking the poison. You gotta pee on it, Worf.
He didn't have the pajamas for that.
Get the dick hole out.
David is dick hole.
Yeah. I liked the scene here where Worf has the little heater thing, because we're reminded that Klingons don't like the cold, whereas and Triels don't like the heat. That which Jedzier tells us as well.
So would Trills love it on Andoria, or is that just too cold for anyone in the right?
I think that's too cold probably for them, but their planet's probably on the colder side, and we see that Kronos has mountains and snow and all this stuff, but they seem to like they like heat. They're a hot blooded people.
Yeah,
and they don't want to be getting cold. They're listening to some mating calls here in the distance. We got a great little speech here, a little story from Worf.
When I was a boy, my father used to take my brother and me on camping trips in the Ural Mountains. Every night, we would listen to the wolves howling in the distance. Nikolai was afraid of them, but I would lay in my tent for hours just listening. I remember being seized by the urge to just rip off my clothes and run into the night and live in the forest and become something wild.
So I have a question, fellas, and it's a bit of a tangent maybe, but because to me this has been written very inconsistently with Worf's character throughout TNG and DS9. Did he grow up in Russia, or did he grow up on the farming colony of Galt? Because he'll say he grew up on Galt, but then he'll say we used to go camping in the Ural Mountains and say other things about growing up in
Russia
on
and
Earth
Minsk
with
and
Russia.
I get,
exactly.
I get them.
It's like,
I
which
get
one?
maybe he moved around a little bit. It seems like it's a little bit inconsistent,
or maybe the, like summers, or like they had family there, and they're like, okay, we'll go over to family and we'll go camp. Like you move around, right? You do stuff, and you might do it every couple of years or so. It's like it's part of you growing up. So the terminology is correct, but that's not where he lived.
Right. I really like the reference to Nikolai, though. Like he doesn't talk about him a ton in the stories, but it was nice that they kind of called that back. That and this
great character, man, great actor. I met him in an elevator once.
Oh,
Paul Sorvino.
Yeah,
I was the concierge at the hotel he was staying at.
Oh, nice. I love the story here, and then like they're listening, and then what's that? The mating call's over. This is where the Jem'Hadar show up, and this is where really things start going real south, of course, in this mission. As all of a sudden, Worf and Jadzia are hiding behind the log or whatever.
They could have got better cover, because that cover was kind of holy there.
First in this encounter. So these Jem'Hadar are coming up. They must be detecting something, maybe from their heater or something, and they're coming over to investigate. It's really dark and dim in these shots, but basically this Jem'Hadar is kind of looking around. They're very, very close, and then Dax takes the first shot here with Worf, signaling to Worf. Worf then fires a second shot at this other Jem'Hadar.
Which is super smart. You got to shoot first at the Jem'Hadar, because they're definitely going to shoot at you. It's not like there's a question about it. So
they would just have obliterated that log with shots.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they had to shoot her. So there's 3 Jem'Hadar, it seems like. So they knock out the first 2 really quick, and this third guy is left, and so he starts firing very much at this log. This is presumably where Jedzia gets hit, because there's about 2 shots here, and then one shot later, Worf just stands up and he throws his mek'leth into the Jem'Hadar chest, and he dies.
Badass Klingon shit there.
And it's apparent very quickly that Jadzia is bleeding and hurt, and we see I like Terry Farrell plays the pain very well in the scene.
She gets, like, you see her progression as an actress so much during this show. Because
she was good when she showed up. Like,
she was good, but she has admitted that she was having a hard time with it too, playing that character.
Right.
That had to be
that more serious kind of a
mentor to Avery Brooks, and who she was sort of intimidated by, because everybody is.
Yeah. Okay. Who isn't? Anyway, yeah, and so she's really hurt here. There's a lot of this is where the story really starts getting tough, because they're on this mission. They're on the timeline. They're in a hostile jungle. They don't know where they are. They're not comfortable, and they need to keep moving. And this whole dynamic.
She's right though.
Married.
They got to get out of that spot.
They got yeah. He's like, yeah, let's stay here. She's like, they're gonna come looking for these 3. We're gonna have to be on the move constantly. It's kind of amazing that they're not caught, considering that those 3 Jem'Hadar were known to be probably missing or dead.
They probably pushed,
but that shows
heavily.
you. Yeah, that shows you how out of sorts Worf is, and he admits it like throughout this whole episode. First with humor, but now just with being distracted by her
Right.
injury and stuff. Like normally Worf would be the guy who would say this is an unsafe position. Now we have to find a better, more strategic position. That's his thing. But he's just like, no, let's stay here. Like Worf would never say that. Unless he's
Yeah.
all out of sorts. you
Yeah,
know?
he's not himself. He's a different person here. He kind of says as much in the dialogues, you know, in the early thing when they're talking about the honeymoon.
He's a
and how
married man.
changed and how he's willing to compromise more, and how it is changing him. And you know, but on the other hand, this mission is very important, and he's a warrior, and it's his honor, and he has to uphold his oath. And but he has also his oath to his wife, and that commitment. And this is ultimately what this story is about.
Mhm.
You know, is you when you're faced with that ultimate choice, what do you do? You know, when everything you are is, you know, and everything you believe in versus everything you've ever promised and are committed to and love is a thing, you know, and there's they do a great job of setting up that these two are the best couple, you know, and for good reasons. And there's a lot of chemistry here. And yeah, like, it bums me out how they kill her off, and they shipped her out of this show without really understanding how important she was or appreciating
That
it, at
was a
least.
bummer. But like
You
in
know?
the end, she's more almost in at least in a lot of ways more Klingon than he is. Like
Mhm.
she's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, she loves this shit, man. Like
Yeah, like
he's always somewhat reserved about Klingon shit. He romanticizes it, but like sometimes he thinks it's a bit crazy and barbaric. But she's just like, nah, let's do it. Let's blood revenge.
Yeah.
until Esri comes along and says, "I wish the Klingon Empire would die." She takes
Yeah,
a very different take from the Daxes.
very different.
Yeah, and more here of Terry Farrell just kind of languishing through the woods. You know, very much in pain, selling it well. More montages, you know,
They're like,
and
damn, if only we brought a third person that was Julian Bashir.
well, like
Yeah.
bring just a couple extra people. That's all I'm saying. Maybe one more. Yeah, we see her. She's bleeding. She's up against this rock, and then she gets up, and then we see the blood stain that's up there because she has an anticoagulant. They can't stop this bleeding. She keeps bleeding out. They keep walking. It was 10 kilometers. That's how far they have to get. It's not that through the jungle. That's a hike for sure.
Yeah, see, I'm not there with you guys on that, man. If you got to go 10 kilometers through the woods, you go faster with 2 people, and 4 people going through the woods is way more noticeable than 2. Tell you right now.
Well,
As a
fine, but leave
woodsman.
2 back on the runabout just in case. Because I feel like when she collapses here,
What good are they going to do back there?
take care of her if she
You're
gets
right,
hurt,
Davan.
and you replace them, right? So you can if they had 2 more people back on the runabout, he could have taken her back.
There's no way they would have made it in time.
They
to
could have
go
doubled back. They could have doubled back.
Yeah, he couldn't have doubled back. What would he just
They
have
were
done
already
that anyway?
like, it's 20K. They were at
Well, how far do you think he makes it after he leaves her here to when he turns back?
Oh, he doesn't go very far. He goes like half a kilometer and change.
Yeah.
You think
he
that's
had
it?
He had 3K left before nightfall.
Yeah, he didn't go very far.
Yeah, he didn't go
This
that
is
far.
where she collapses.
dark
Ultimately, where she can't go any further at this point. You know, he's like, well, because they're having to change the bandage like every 3 times an hour at this point. You
That's
know,
crazy.
she's looking so weak.
Doesn't she look bad?
Yeah.
This episode could have won an Emmy for how shitty she looks.
Yeah, she looks like she's bleeding to death. Like, you know,
She does.
But she's
so pale.
But playing the episode, you know, this dynamic, this love that these 2 actors really established with their characters was really well earned. And they do a great job. And this is like their swan song. This episode is their swan song, you know, because basically there's not that much more good stuff before the end of their, you know, relationship when she dies. So
Well, the worst thing about Jazia's death is they do it when there's absolutely no one else around that would care.
And the fact that it's Ducat that does it, who she doesn't have a connection to, and the fact that that's not really avenged by Worf, Cisco, or, you know, like in a proper way.
I'd rather her have been like stabbed to death by the albino.
Yeah.
Okay. He's dead, but like.
Okay, so ultimately, this is where, like, just prior to this, when I shouldn't say just prior to this, after Worf leaves. So I'll wait till you get to that point, and then I'll talk.
Well, this is kind of where they are now, where she's like, you have to go. I'm a Starfleet officer. This is the mission. I'm hurt. You're not. She tells him, she gives him every reason. Just kiss me and go. It's a great scene here. Very emotional and powerful.
Oh man, this is so good. Like when her acting is so good here.
When he gets up and then
her
she walks
reaction
away.
when he says, "I can have you in stasis in 45 hours," and her response to that is so heartbreaking because she portrays so perfectly the fact that she knows she can't live for 45 hours.
Mhm.
She's just like, but she still has to play it tough for him, so he'll go on and do the mission. Man, she nails it. She could have won an Emmy for this episode too. This is a great episode, fellas.
And even when he gets up and goes, walks away, and then she just breaks down here, and you're just like, whoa,
Yeah. So they should have cut here and have the final scene of the Tongo subplot there, because you have the
And
rise.
more serious.
Well, the whole point of that is like how special and one of a kind Jadzia is, right? And then you have that end, and then you cut back to Worf, who's struggling. The heartbeat is happening, and then he throws it, right, and then cut to you realize that he chose her. I just felt that would have played better. This scene is so far removed from the Bashir sequence that I think that it would have been a better, stronger narrative altogether if they kind of kept the rising tension together.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have. I think I would have kept it the order they kept it in, but I don't know.
I don't know that I have a preference. As long as all those scenes are there, man. This is
right. Here, ultimately, he's looking around. His heartbeat, like he'll come to tell Cisco here at the end, like the tale of the two hearts and from the wedding, and how he knew he had to go, and it didn't matter what the consequences are. And then he finds her here, and she's still alive. And he almost sneaks back. He knows he's breaking another oath and promise, and this has consequences, and he's not entirely proud, but he has to make this choice. And
she looks dead. Like he's so uncertain.
Yeah.
He's checking her pulse. He's just like,
right.
Oh no.
Well, imagine she had died here. Imagine she died in this episode.
Wow. It would have been better.
It would have been better, right?
Yeah.
Than the way she goes out ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
If she had died because he,
but then for not, it would have been so tragic. Like
if she died for not,
got the Cardassian.
She did, but in the way
back
she does
and then
die.
died.
He would have killed the Cardassian. The Cardassian would have said something. Would have said something, and he would have killed him.
No, one less Starfleet officer. Ta-da! That would have been the end.
I'd say the way she ultimately does die, it is for nothing. The way she does die for nothing.
Oh, it is 100% is.
This would have been for something. At least trying to do something noble. Even if it didn't, if it failed.
And then everyone would have been there to mourn her.
Yeah. Everyone would have been there. It would have been, but here we get.
I love these Cisco lines. You're right. Cisco is in this episode. Try me, sir.
Yeah. Try me, sir. Because at first he's like, he's concerned about Dax, but then he's like, okay, let's, get into it.
As your captain, it is my duty to inform you that you made the wrong choice.
You made the wrong.
And he is the best actor of all time. I fucking love Avery Brooks. He's the best.
He's like, well, I don't think you'll understand. He's like,
try me, sir.
Try me, sir.
Try me, sir.
So and he gets into it.
You heard the story of the first two Klingon hearts and how nothing could stand against them, and how they even destroyed the gods that had created them. I've heard that story since I was a boy, but I never understood it. I mean, really understood it. Until I was standing in the jungle with my heart pounding in my chest, and I found that even I could not stand against my own heart. I had to go back, and it did not matter what Starfleet thought or what the consequences were. She was my wife, and I could not leave her.
Yes.
Dear Captain, it's my duty to inform you that you made the wrong choice.
This is awesome. This is
no,
awesome.
Worf is saying what I was saying there. It was his duty to protect his wife, because if it's not his duty to do that, whose is it? Like, you have to. That's your first duty. Like, you have a priority.
And Cisco says as much. He's like, and as a man who had a wife, I would have made the same choice, right?
And
Yeah,
also,
well, he
you
tried
guys-
to. They had to pull him away from Jennifer, and she was already dead. They
That's
had to
true.
drag him out of there, man.
no. This
That
is
was
what you,
crazy.
You play that clip.
Oh, of course.
Oh, we used to play it all the time.
her.
Yeah.
No, we used to play that all the time. You're
No.
sick.
Oh,
Damn it! We just can't leave her here!
the anguish.
That's not funny. That's not funny. at all.
Avery Brooks from the beginning was always
He's
good.
establishing there's a new friggin' top dog in town in Star Trek.
Isn't
Yeah, man.
it possible?
So he also explains that you two won't be going on missions together alone again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Which
They shouldn't have been in the first place.
proper. They shouldn't have been in the first
Yeah.
place.
Regardless, for just this reason, like they should, like it shouldn't expect them to make another choice here is unreasonable, and Starfleet should know that.
Wesley even knows that.
They're not
Remember when Wesley
Vulcans.
was made like the head of a little team, and he picked two married couples, and he talks to the science officer. Talks to the science officer's like, "Oh, I would have split up the married couple." Like they've been talking about this, and this is a known thing in Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's a known thing in the military in most professional settings. Like this is
Yeah.
why they're a little backwards in their approach here, but whatever. Anyway, and I love the scene here. where
No,
she
whatever.
waits-
I think you're being a little bit too lenient on the poor decision making in that little aspect, but
Okay, maybe I'm being a little lenient. That's okay. I love this last scene here between Dax and Worf, where she's like, "Are you in trouble?" He's like, "I've been in trouble before. I could get out of this. Like, that time I killed."
Worf has become so sweet.
Mhm.
Like he's so not the guy he used to be. Like his character development is really shown in this episode.
Yeah,
He's very like empathetic and sweet.
we saw how he was with Kalar. It wasn't great.
He's just bitter.
Yeah. So his relationship with Dax much better. Tender Michael Dorn, and that's the end of the episode. And I think at the time, like I was like, how can you punish Worf? Never let him be Captain Worf for this? He had to do this. What are you talking about? I remember feeling that reaction at the time. I don't feel it as strongly now. But what do you guys feel like that was
Justified?
justified?
Yeah. Look, those are the consequences, but sometimes the consequences don't matter when, as Davan said, you have a duty to perform. So he knew what he was doing.
The
He
duty
knew.
that is only yours and no one else's. There's a
This
lot of
will
Star
go
Wars
into your
novels
service
that
record.
Cape Cardassians.
Yeah, service
You
record.
probably
Only
won't
you
be
can save
offered
your
a command on your
private
own.
eye.
Yeah. All right, Davan, do you want to give us the details?
What?
Or I can do it.
Details discovered by Davan.
Or
I
fun facts
wasn't
with
ready for
Jaemeel.
that. I'm doing it.
Well, one of us got to do it. Let's do it. That's not.
Oh, nobody told me.
Well, I just
I didn't.
I got all the
I thought it
screenshots,
was
guys, and
this
the sound
was the
effects.
details discovered by Dave show.
It sometimes is, but it could be details discovered by Davan.
He had a prompt ready. I love it.
And I have fun facts with Jaemeel on the go. We can go over. Or we can
That
details
doesn't
discovered
roll
with
off the
Dave.
tongue.
All of us can do. We can't do double F with Jeff because double Jeff is not here.
It's digital information assimilated by Davan of 9.
All right, give us that.
That's a classic segment. Oh, but I'm not ready.
Oh,
I'm not ready.
God.
ready. And then I will prepare you. This episode. Here's a quick one on the fly. Details discovered by Dave. This episode's B plot was originally going to be a lowbrow comedy centered on Ferengi characters Nog and Rom, featuring a visit by Rom's ex-wife Nog's mother to Deep Space Nine. Livingston felt the storyline would be hilarious and contrast with the high tragedy plot, but the showrunner Irish Stephen Bear disliked the concept, and Livingston replaced it with a Tongo subplot instead.
Thank you.
All right,
Jeez.
taking it back.
Take it back.
I'm taking it back. Hold on. I have a sound effect for my taking it back. Yeah. And this was the 500th episode of Star Trek to be filmed.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Are there more details?
Oh, sure.
Hit us again.
This is the only episode to refer to Nikolai other than the one he's in. The B story for this episode originally involved Rom, Nog, and Prinadora. What?
Yeah.
The plot involved
did say
Prinadora
that.
arriving on the station and claiming that she has... What? You said that?
He
I
said
said I did share that. That was what I when you were queuing up.
Oh, sorry. I was looking for my own. All right. Casperia Prime is mentioned for the first time this episode.
When will it be mentioned again?
Dave, do you know that?
No. I was just curious.
Esri has her honeymoon there. I would laugh.
Oh, that'd be the worst. With
And
Bashir?
Worf's like, Worf would be like, I'm
in
gonna
this-
kill this man.
In this episode, Dax mentions that the Sutherland is docking. Of course, we know the Sutherland was once captained by Data.
It was, yeah, during the Tachyon detection grid. When they were...
Indeed.
Did Geordi have a ship called the Gilbert?
I don't think so.
Max Grodanchik, Aaron Eisenberg, Chase Masterson, and Lolita Faccio have performed the unfilmed B plot at conventions.
Oh, really?
That's pretty
Oh, so
cool.
it
Yeah,
was
that's
fully
pretty
like scripted, and then they pulled it.
cool. Yeah, apparently
Somebody was probably
Man,
cast.
That would have been
Primadora?
cool to see Prinadora. Yeah, man.
Hmm.
That would have been a bit of a mistake. I like this plot, but
They could have put it in a different episode.
They could have put they could have
Yeah.
saved this for another episode.
Or a web. Well, they didn't have a web to begin with, but like a little short.
this is the first appearance of the Danube class runabout USS Shenandoah. which is, of course, a tributary river in the United States because they're all named after rivers.
Yep.
And what else is here?
I think there's a Shubenacadie, a USS Shubenacadie.
That would be nice, man. Get a little Nova Scotian action in there. They'd say it wrong. They'd be like Shubenacadie. Nobody can pronounce Nova Scotian towns. It's just how it goes. Do I have anything else that's interesting? Some of these aren't really
I found one.
interesting. Okay.
Take
it back.
So by the time this episode was made, actress Terry Farrell, who played Jadzia Dax, had already declined to renew her contract, meaning that
wow.
Jadzia's character would have been killed off at the end of the season. So they already knew when they were making this that she was going
So this
out.
was their send off.
And Terry Farrell
for the
said,
actors.
I think for Ronald D. Moore, I think it is for sure. I think Terry Farrell suggested having Jadzia die, and Worf completes the mission, but in the end, Jadzia survived and then dies in the I think Terry Farrell was right. I feel like if they had killed her off here, we would still be sad she left the show, but I don't think we would feel as raw about it as we do in terms of how she goes out and like killed by Dukat in such a meaningless way. You know, I feel like that's the part I really have a hard time with.
And the
way she's
Bashir's
replaced too, but
and the Bashir, conversation about the loss that he lost his chance with Dax would have hit harder too.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If she had died here, well, they're both lamenting over that they could have never had it. Yeah, it would have worked a lot better. How many more episodes were there between this and that? Because you gotta remember, if they killed her off here, if they killed her off here, then she's not in the pale moonlight, which she I think she does play a fairly good role in that, where she's the whole banter that her
She does. Yeah.
Could they have rearranged the episodes though?
Oh, probably. It's we're only talking about 3 episodes different.
This
maybe
could have been a
more.
great season finale.
True.
To kill her if they had moved this to the end. There's no reason why it couldn't have.
True, you could have moved this to the end too. They didn't have to go here in the order necessarily.
Oh, I think we just came upon a gem there. That's what should have happened.
They should have just shelved it till like the second last episode of the season, even, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then she's died before like you send him back to Earth and all this other thing.
Like Cisco's gone, he just comes back and is like, "What? Dax is dead? What?" Like he wasn't even around for it.
Times Orphan. Oh, that's this season too. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's the end of our fun facts. Let's the final segment here is where we rate the episode out of 10 and kind of figure out how does it stack up against the others. Let's get this on here. And Jeff's not with us. I will vote first. I'm very high on this episode. I
Me
think
too.
all things considered, I'm at least a 9. I gotta go 9. Jaemeel?
I was thinking 9 as well.
Oh, then
I'm going higher. I'm going 9. I'm going 9.2.
okay. I thought that I was gonna dislike this episode. Like, I thought that something was gonna happen, and like I was gonna not enjoy this episode and not feel very physically, emotionally captured by it. But I was still, even with my issues with where things are placed, I'm giving it a 9.3.
9.3. Okay, and come on down, Davan. You are the final contestant on The Price is Right.
I don't do decimals, so I'll give it a 9.
You're rounding down.
Yeah, well, let's give it a 9.
All right, so we're averaging
It's
9.2.
it's not far beyond the stars. It's not a 10. Well, no, I give that an 11.
You gave that
didn't
an
I?
11.
Yeah, man, dude. Come on,
Mm,
give decimals.
10.
Give a decimal.
You're going
10.
to 10. You're going to 10.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, since
All right.
I've got 11s out there.
Yeah,
It's
you gave next week's episode a 0, or prematurely.
Oh, absolutely a 0. I'm not changing that.
Yeah.
I'll never watch it again. I'm not even gonna come here and talk to you guys about it. Like,
It's called
I-
Rugs
nothing to do
Darker
with it.
Than Death or Night. So-
I can't
yeah,
remember.
that, that episode is a wrong.
That's-
I don't even want to talk about it.
Dave.
Well, just quickly, it's the one where basically Kira goes back in time with the orb of time. And she finds her mom, and Ducat's banging her mom and all this, whatever. So it's like this whole thing.
Am I not busy next week? God. That's rough. I don't think I'm gonna do a 0, but
Yeah,
Jeez.
it's not my
You can
favorite
do it,
either.
yeah.
Irish Stephen Bear was working hard on that while Ron D. Moore wrote this great one. Anyway, so I think we know who to credit on this one. I'm glad this one, but I'm not happy about next week's episode. But we have to do it. We have to review it. So we'll see. Will it
tell
be
Jeff he
lower-
can't skip out of that one.
Yeah, tell me he needs to be there. Will it be lower rated than Resurrection, the Burial episode? We're gonna find out. It could be very well. So yeah, I'm gonna say what I end up giving it. I don't know. I'm not sure where my heart sits yet.
What is that? What you're gonna say, Jaemeel? The best Star Trek relationship is Kira and Barial. Admit it.
Stop
That's what
it.
you're thinking.
Stop it. Don't you dare.
Kieran
don't-
Shakar.
Don't you dare put
Yeah?
that
Kira
evil
and
on me,
Shakar,
Davin.
Jaemeel?
Don't
Is that
put
what you
e-
like?
Don't put that evil on me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh gosh.
I
I thought
well, mine rates 6.9 for the space workers. Okay, guys. Well, that's been a wrap, I think, here on Star Trek DS9 Change of Heart from season 6, episode 16. I really enjoyed it. Again, we gave this a collective 9.5. We really liked it. We hope you will check it out if you haven't already. If you just liked us describing to you what happened in this episode, or if you have saw it a long time ago, go and check it out again and come back and see how much you agree with our takes on it.
Yeah.
Check.
Leave a comment about Dave and his dick holes.
Yeah. Well, like I did go a little blue tonight, guys. I'm sorry. I think it's because I'm wearing blue. And I got into a few mistakes there, but it's okay. It slips.
I'm not forgetting that anytime soon.
Like, that's gonna end
I'm
up
expecting a pair of those pajamas for Christmas. I don't know about
Oh man.
you.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Also, check us out on Monday nights here on Live Long and Podcast. We have our Star Trek Enterprise rewatch series. Our whole crew here at Live Long and Podcast talking about all kinds of different podcasts, our various divisions, including our Command Division like this that does the episodes. We also have our Locutors of Trek, which they just had an audio podcast that came out, plus which was on sorry, remind me the topic you
It's
guys
on the failures of Star
Failures.
Trek, which I renamed. I renamed the episode after it was already posted, so it's all been renamed everywhere. I think I may need to get you to rename it on the UFP thing or something, but
Okay.
it's called Code of Dishonor.
Code. All right. Well, maybe that's a hint as to what the biggest failures was. And what else, guys? Our science division, which
Oh,
is the
and
base-
also on the Treckle Trunk there, we're doing a
Tomorrow.
tomorrow with
tomorrow.
the
You
Hero
and,
Fix story series. Me and Mr.
you and
Scott.
Mr. Scott.
Yeah.
You and Mr. Scott are gonna be doing some
Gonna
hero
battle it
clicks.
out. Q has got some shenanigans going. That's all I'll say. But there's a story involved, and then a battle, and then we'll see how it.
Well, and check
It's like
out.
choose your own adventure. The game determines where the story goes.
That's interesting. Of course, check out our ops division, which is like Star Trek Radio Theater, and what else do we do over there?
Writer's Room,
Oh yeah, and the video games. And we got the video games.
rarely.
Yeah,
Hey,
sometimes.
no, wait, okay,
In
hold
Star
on,
Trek
hold on.
Online.
Stop that. We're gonna have a lot more content in that division because not only are you two, going through Star Trek Online, but later on this year there's a new Star Trek game that's going to be coming out, and I expect many of the members of LLAP is going to be playing it. So we'll be talking and discussing that.
You want a video game review? I'll review the
There's
video.
well, the thing about it, it's a telltale type of game, so your decisions change the outcome of the game. And one of the great things that they do in the game is they kind of break down where your decisions have led you to and what is the percentages versus what you chose versus a larger body of individuals. So that's something that we can recap and talk about, and where we deviated from our own individual choices. So I'm looking forward to that game and our discussions from it. So
Oh, me too.
look forward to it.
Let's set that up. I think that's all our great stuff here on Live Long in Podcast. You got to check us out all over the place. We're always talking Star Trek and all so much more. We're also part of a greater network of podcasts called the United Federation of Podcasts. You can check out us at ufpodcast.com. We got shows like Trivial Debates, which just aired. Jaemeel was hosting. I was competing along with Jeff and Josh Foster in the most recent Trivial Debates. Check that one out. Really fun episode. It got spicy.
Some people questioning my decisions.
No, don't let them get to you, Jaemeel. Don't let Jody get to you.
Jody didn't say anything. I'm talking about Davan.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I think you did a great job, mostly because I won. So it's
You didn't win because of my choices. You won because you debated the best in this episode.
Yeah, when I came out and Jay was like, "Do you think Jaemeel did a great job?" I think he did an amazing job. I won. Very smart. So it went well, very well. KBBBL, our Simpsons podcast over on UF Podcast with Davan and Francis and Baker. You guys are doing Homer's Night Out from season 1.
Yeah,
Friday.
we were off for a week, but we're back. We're back on Friday.
Yeah,
Homer's Night Out. Join us; it'll be fun.
Yep.
Super Mater Brothers podcasting, which is on hiatus right now, but we're going to be back probably first with our Mary Mater Marvel Society.
No. We're probably going to be back sooner. Did you not see the news that Sam dropped earlier?
No.
Right?
Yeah, Sam told me there's a new Survivor. Yeah.
So we're probably doing the Survivor cast reveal.
It's a leak, but it's a pretty detailed leak. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we can probably get to our draft sooner than later then. So maybe we'll be back. So check that over on Super Mater Brothers podcasting, where we talk about things like Big Brother Survivor, Marvel, and other things. TV shows like Westworld, Once Upon a Time, Hellbound podcast, a horror movie podcast. Michael Chan, Alex Blackburn comes out on Wednesdays, featured horror interviews and role plays and different things. X-Rated, the X-Men the Animated Review Show. Tuesdays, Davan and Andre.
We were supposed to go tonight, but Andre, there was overturned trucks on the highways. There was all kinds of shenanigans. Andre basically lives in a Die Hard movie, so he couldn't make it.
Couldn't make it.
Yeah.
Well, X-Men's loss was Deep Space Nine's gain tonight, Davan, as you joined us here. Thank you. And Andre, of course, also has the Graphics History podcast where he interviews people, comic book artists, people who work in the film industry, different one-on-one interviews. David Cullen, if I'm recalling, was somebody.
Right now, yep. It was a well-known artist. It did What If issues like what if Keith Richards led the Fantastic Four instead of
Keith Richards instead of Reed Richards?
Yeah, classic. Yeah. And what if Wolverine was the worst there is at what he does?
Which is what? Smoke cigars and
wait, was it take butts and kick was it take butts and kick?
That's Squirrel Girl.
No,
eat nuts and kick butts.
No, it's what Mantis said in Avengers Infinity War. Take butts and kick names.
Kick names.
Yeah.
Kick and take
Take-
ass. Kick names and take ass. That's,
It's kind of like in like Demolition Man, where it's like, let's blow this guy, or blow this guy away. All
Joy
right, and
Joy.
Free Joy. Of course, we got Hold Up, a movie podcast every second Wednesday with Chris Murphy, Davan Skelhorn. They are going to be on next Wednesday talking about spy movies.
Yeah, I Spy. It's going to be a great episode.
3 different spy
with
movies.
the Jody Simpson.
The Jody Simpson, a man who felt I shouldn't have won Trivial Debates, but
Oh, he told you this?
of course.
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
Well, he hasn't shown the nuts, the squirrel girl nuts to say that to me. So don't take it.
yeah. Well, I told him
A few more nuts to eat before you can kick those butts, Jody.
Yeah.
he'll tell you he's the winningest winner in Trivial Debates history, and he's not wrong.
He will say that.
But so, anyway, okay. Well, I think that's all of our plugs, and I think we can say goodnight. Thanks for being with us, and we will see you next time. Let's go out on a clip. You know,
Do you
play
have that
one.
that dickhole dickhole quote?
No,
quote of Dave.
No, I got this one. I think this one's a good one to go out on.
I do not have to sleep on the same side of the bed every night, or brush my hair exactly 50 strokes every night, or eat the same thing for breakfast every day, or read the last page of the book before the beginning, or lift
I
up
get the point. I don't know how you can live with someone so monotonous.
It is not easy. That was a joke.